Welcome to another CXC Agricultural Science past paper review session. Today we will be looking at the 2016 past paper, paper 1. Please watch to the end. I have detailed explanation of each question and I guarantee that after this session you will learn a lot and be ready for your exams. Alright, let's get into the questions. Question number 1. A country is said to have food security when it can A. Feed most of its population. B. Provide a protein-rich diet for everyone. C. Secure food for everyone during periods of natural disasters. D. Provide safe and nutritionally balanced food for everyone at all times. The answer is D. Provide safe and nutritionally balanced food for everyone at all times. Of course, food security is the role of the government. So if the government has to import goods just to make sure goods are in the country, then they will do so. Question number 2. An agronomist is a person who specializes in the study of the A. Growth and management of crops. B. Growth of ornamental plants. C. Control and use of insects. D. Management of animals. The answer is A. Growth and management of crops. Question number 3. Which of the following can be considered roles of agriculture in the economy of Caribbean territories? 1. Contributing to GDP. 2. Reducing the regional food import bill. 3. Securing foreign exchange. A. 1 and 2 only. B. 1 and 3 only. C. 2 and 3 only. D. 1, 2, and 3. The answer is D. 1, 2, and 3. Of course, gross domestic product involves the production of goods within a country, except the foreign exchange earnings. Question number 4. Predial larceny is considered an everyday problem because A. Individuals are arrested daily for stealing agricultural produce. B. Police response is usually not fast on a daily basis. C. Farmers all around face this problem on a daily basis. D. Fines are issued on a daily basis to individuals caught stealing. The logical answer is C. Farmers all around face this problem on a daily basis. Question number 5. A bioterrorism attack on agriculture may result in 1. An increase in food prices. 2. Destruction of ecological habitats. 3. Destabilization of a system of food security. A. 1 and 2 only. B. 1 and 3 only. C. 2 and 3 only. D. 1, 2, and 3. The answer is D. 1, 2, and 3. Of course, ecological habitats will be destroyed. As you know, bioterrorism is basically when microorganisms are intentionally used to destroy plants and animals. So of course habitats will be destroyed, food prices will go up, and of course the system of food security will be disrupted. Question number 6. Item 6 refers to the following graph which shows the relationship between rainfall and yield of tomato during 2012. The yield of tomato is steady because the crop is most likely 1. Produced in an undercover system. 2. Grown intensively in the field. 3. Grown on a sandy soil which is well fertilized. A. 1 only. B. 2 only. C. 2 and 3 only. D. 1, 2, and 3. The answer is A. 1 only. Of course, from the graph it is shown that the rainfall did not affect the yield any at all. That means that the tomatoes are not planted outdoor. They are planted in a controlled environment, maybe a greenhouse for example. Question number 7. The correct procedure to be followed in hazard analysis critical point HACCP in a milking system is 1. Washing the cow's udder. 2. Washing and disinfecting the system. 3. Cleaning the teat cups between milking. The answer is A. 1, 3, and 2, which is washing the cow's udder, then cleaning the teat cups between milking, and then washing and disinfecting the system. Of course, you would not want to start by disinfecting the system because you don't want a cross-contamination of the disinfectant into the milk. Of course, the HACCP is a system that is put in place in factories to promote the safety of produce or goods so that consumers can get safe and healthy goods. Question number 8. Which of the following can be done to speed up the breaking down of compost? The answer is B. Add water to the compost when it is dry. Of course, the breaking down process or the decomposing process normally takes place by microbes or microorganisms, and microorganisms, they need a moist condition in order to work or to survive. Question number 9. Legumes are especially important on organic crop farms because they, the answer is C, promote nitrogen fixation. Of course, legume plants and certain bacteria called nitrogen fixing bacteria, they live symbiotically, meaning they depend on each other. So the nitrogen fixing bacteria, what they will do is to change nitrogen gas directly to nitrates that the plants use to make protein. So of course, it is a nutrient that plants need. So having these plants on the organic farm, it will lessen the chance of the farmers have to buy inorganic nitrogen fertilizer. Question number 10. Biodiversity refers to, the answer is C, ecosystems, species, and genetic variation. Of course, bio means living and diversity means different. So it's different organisms living together, and ecosystem is basically a community of living organisms living together, interacting with each other and their environment. Question number 11. In economic terms, a surplus is created when A. Supply is equal to demand, B. Supply is less than demand, C. Demand is greater than supply, D. Supply is greater than demand. The answer is D. Supply is greater than demand. Of course, surplus means there's a oversupply of goods on the market. Supply means the amount of goods that is placed on the market, and demand means the amount of goods that is bought. Question number 12. Which of the following is classified as working capital? A. Paying rent for farm inputs, B. Purchasing farm inputs for vegetable production, C. Replacing farm buildings, D. Purchasing a tractor. The answer is B. Purchasing farm inputs for vegetable production. Of course, the working capital would involve those variable inputs, those inputs that are used up or converted in the production process. So for example, a seed, the seed is converted into a plant, so the seed is used up. On the other hand, like the rent is not used up. The rent is not used up in the production process. The rent is fixed, so it is a fixed capital. The building is a fixed capital and the tractor is a fixed capital as well. Question number 13. Which of the following is not a fixed cost? A. Fuel, B. Taxes, C. Machinery, D. Depreciation. The answer is A. Fuel. The other three are fixed. Tax, it is paid based on a percentage, and that percentage is fixed. Machine offers service, they are not used up in the production process, and depreciation is estimated by a percentage basis as well, which is normally fixed. Items 14 to 15 refers to the following graph of a demand and supply curve. Question 14. Which of the following would most likely lead to a shift from S to S1? 1. Lack of marketing information. 2. A greater demand for the product. 3. More mechanization of the farm. 4. Tax breaks on the cost of inputs. A. 1 and 2 only. B. 2 and 3 only. C. 1, 2 and 3 only. D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. The answer is A. 1 and 2 only. Of course, a shift from S to S1 shows you that supply decreases, and of course the producers and sellers are responsible for supply. So the question is, what would cause them to supply less goods on the market? So the best choice would be 1. Lack of marketing information, because maybe they don't know how to market their goods, so they don't produce a lot, because they might be wondering, where would I sell my produce when I produce them? So they don't produce a lot of goods. 2. A greater demand for the product. So if you have demand increase very rapidly, more than all the goods are supplied, then eventually for a while you'll have a shortage of goods on the market, or a shortage of supply. So the best answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Question number 15. During Lent, people demand more fish than any other meat. This is represented by a shift from A, D1 to D, B, D to D1, C, S1 to S, D, E1 to E. The answer is B, D to D1. Of course, D represents the demand curve, right? So D to D1 would show you that there's an increase in the quantity demanded. It shows you that demand increased. So the best answer is D to D1. And of course, the S curve would represent the supply curve, and E would represent the equilibrium price. Question number 16. How did the cessation ending of the Loam Convention affected the Caribbean? A. Unlimited trade access by European Union to ACP countries. B. Political destabilization and civil unrest in the region. C. Introduction of trade-friendly reforms for ACP states. D. Loss of preferential treatment for goods imported from ACP countries. Of course, the answer is D. Loss of preferential treatment for goods imported from ACP countries. Of course, the Loam Convention was an agreement between the European Union and ACP countries, such as countries that were owned once colonized by British, by England, Spain, etc., which would include the Caribbean countries. So they would get preferential treatment such as reduction of tax duties and so forth, and they will get financial assistance. When that agreement was broken, it resulted in a negative effect on the Caribbean countries. Question number 17. Which of the following features concerning the management structure of an agricultural cooperative are correct? 1. Officers are elected every 2 years. 2. It is managed by an elected committee. 3. All farmers of good character can join. A. 1 and 2 only. B. 1 and 3 only. C. 2 and 3 only. D. 1, 2 and 3. The answer is C. 2 and 3 only. Of course, the officers are elected every year, not every 2 years, every 1 year. Question number 18. Item 18 refers to the following information. The yield and average price per kilogram of 4 crops are given in the table below. Based on the gross returns only, which is the most profitable crop for a farmer to plant? A. Cauliflower. B. Cabbage. C. Lettuce. D. Tomato. The answer is A. Cauliflower. Of course, the gross return would mean the total income gain without the deduction of expenses. So of course, you would basically want to find out the return. You multiply the average price times the yield, and the highest return would be the answer, which is the 17 times the $3.5. Question number 19. Which of the following pairs of inputs of production comprises variable cost? A. Seeds and medication. B. Fertilizers and buildings. C. Medication and machinery. D. Management and buildings. The answer is A. Seeds and medication. Of course, variable costs are those items that are purchased that would be used up in the production process, or they are converted into the product. So of course, buildings and machines, they will not be used up in the production process. They will be used to service or to offer service in the production process, but they are not converted into the product. Question number 20. Which of the following statements is not true of a complete budget? A. Provides an estimate of net farm income. B. Provides an estimate of farm expenditure. C. Contains only some items of income and expenditure. D. Can be used to compare profitability of other farm plans. The answer is C. Contains only some items of income and expenditure. Question number 21. Item 21 refers to the following diagram of a soil profile. Which horizon determines the chemical composition of the soil farmed? A. Horizon A. B. Horizon B. C. Horizon C. D. Horizon D. The answer is D. Horizon D. Of course, horizon D comprises of the bedrocks, and the type of soil that is farmed will be determined by the type of bedrock that is in the soil. Question number 22. Which of the following soil organisms are capable of converting atmospheric nitrogen to nitrates? A. Fungi. B. Viruses. C. Bacteria. D. protozoa. Of course, the best answer is C, bacteria. So for example, the rhizobium bacteria that live in the root nodules of legume plants. Question number 23. An orange tree exhibit premature falling of flower buds is most likely deficient in A, sulfur, B, nitrogen, C, potassium, D, phosphorus. The answer is C, potassium. Of course, potassium is necessary for the formation of carbohydrates and transfer of carbohydrates in the plant. So without that energy, blossoms will fall off. Sulfur is basically necessary for the formation of proteins in plant. Nitrogen is necessary for development of the vegetative parts of the plant. And phosphorus is necessary for the development of root growth in plant. Question number 24. Excessive use of which of the following fertilizers will result in soil acidity? A. Triple superphosphate, B. Ammonium sulfate, C. Superphosphate, D. Calcium nitrate. The answer is B. Ammonium sulfate. Of course, the nitrogenous fertilizers will increase the acidity of the soil. Ammonium contains a lot of nitrogen in its fertilizer, so the ammonium is the key factor there. Question number 25. Which of the following gases is given off during the process of composting vegetable matter? A. Propane, B. Methane, C. Butane, D. Octane. The answer is B. Methane. Question number 26. Arrowing, ridging, and rotivating are best described as A. Zero tillage, B. Tertiary tillage, C. Primary tillage, D. Secondary tillage. The answer is D. Secondary tillage. Of course, when you have refining of the soil or ridging, that would be refining the soil or shaping the soil, then that would be a secondary tillage. Question number 27. Which of the following is most likely to occur when crops are grown in an area with high relative humidity? A. An increased incidence of fungal diseases. B. An increase in the rate of transpiration. C. The drying out of the surface soil. D. Reduced risk of fungal diseases. The answer is A. An increase in incidence of fungal diseases. Of course, humidity means the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. So of course, if there is a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, then there will be an increase in growth of fungal diseases or increase in incidence of fungal diseases. Fungal diseases basically likes moist environment. They survive and strive in moist environments. Question number 28. Which of the following is not a benefit of farm mechanization? A. Farm operations performed on time. B. Better yield and quality of produce. C. Improved standard of living for rural farmers. D. Increased losses in crop handling. The answer is D. Increased losses in crop handling. Question number 29. Which of the following best describes the structure of a rhizome? A. A swollen underground stem. B. An underground shoot with various roots. C. A thick fleshy underground stem that runs horizontally. D. An underground shoot with overlapping leaf bases concentrically arranged. The answer is C. A thick fleshy underground stem that runs horizontally. So of course, an example of a rhizome is ginger. The ginger is a stem, and that stem, it is swollen with stored food, and it runs horizontally. So it's not a root, it is a stem, and that stem is developed underground and it stores food. Question number 30. The atmospheric gas being utilized in the manufacture of food by plant is A. Oxygen, B. Nitrogen, C. Hydrogen, D. Carbon dioxide. The answer is D. Carbon dioxide. Question number 31. The term given when two purebred plants are crossed to produce a heterozygous individual is known as A. Progeny, B. Genetics, C. Heredity, D. Hybridization. The answer is D. Hybridization. Of course, genetics involve the study of heredity, and heredity is a trait, and heredity is the passing of trait from one organism, normally the parent, to the offspring. Progeny really speaks about the different generation of offsprings. Question number 32. Seeds result from A. Mature ovules, B. Fertilized ovary, C. Fertilized ovules, D. Rupture of fruit walls. The answer is C. Fertilized ovules. Of course, an ovule will not develop into a seed if it is not fertilized. And of course, When an ovule is fertilized, it means it is joined by a pollen grain. So a pollen grain joined to the ovule will result in the fertilization of the ovule. So if the ovules are not fertilized, it will not be developed into a seed. So if you look on a corn, a comb, you see like on a corn, you see corn seeds on some, and you see some spots missing. It means that those spots that are missing, ovules were there, but they weren't pollinated, so they did not develop into the seed. Question number 33. A disadvantage of sexual reproduction is that the offspring A. may inherit undesirable qualities from their parents, B. may look different from their parents, C. may adapt to their environment, D. that survive are superior. The answer is A. may inherit undesirable qualities from their parents. Of course, disadvantage mean the bad things. Question number 34. The best time of the day to transplant seedlings is A. late morning, B. late afternoon, C. early morning, D. early afternoon. The best answer for me is B. late afternoon. Of course, when you transplant seedlings in the sun or when it is hot, they will transpire a lot, so they might die because of transpiration or dehydration of their cells. Question number 35. Which of the following is not a benefit of mulching? A. encourages weed to grow, B. reduces the chance of soil erosion, C. prevents loss of water by evaporation, D. keeps the soil damp and permeable to water. The answer is A. encourages weed to grow. Of course, mulching is when the soil is covered. You have two types of mulch. You have organic mulch and inorganic mulch. Organic mulch is basically derived from plants and animals, and there are their remains, while the inorganic mulch is from materials that are not from plants and animals, such as plastic. Question number 36. Which of the following methods can be referred to as a biological means of pest control? A. using wasps to control mealybugs, B. application of insecticides, C. removal of crop residues, D. setting of insect traps. The answer is A. using wasps to control mealybugs. Of course, the use of one living organism to control the next is called biological, since biological means living. The application of insecticide would be a chemical control. The removal of crops by residue would be a cultural method of control. And D. setting of insect traps, that would be a mechanical method of control. So the answer is A. Question number 37. The most water conserving system of the irrigating crops in the Caribbean is A. subsurface, B. sprinkler, C. flood, D. drip. The answer is D. drip. Question number 38. Which of the following instructions for harvesting are appropriate? 1. Tomatoes. Pick when fruits are dark green in color. 2. Beans. Pick when pods will snap clean when broken. 3. Cabbage. Uproot from the ground. 4. Sweet potato. Dig when leaves begin to dry. Avoid bruising and do not break roots. The best answer is D. 2 and 4. Question number 39. The process of fermentation of sugar results in the A. oxidation of the product, B. destruction of the product, C. release of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, D. removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The answer is C. release of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Of course, when sugar is fermented, ethanol and carbon dioxide is normally given off. Question number 40. The environmental conditions necessary for broiler production are best described as A. humidity, ventilation, and temperature, B. good ventilation, aeration, and low humidity, C. level of toxic gases in the air, temperature, and oxygen, D. temperature, humidity, and low level of toxic gases in the air. The answer is B. good ventilation, aeration, and low humidity. Of course, you don't want moisture to be in the poultry house because that will breed diseases. So good ventilation also will keep the litter dry and prevent disease buildup. Question number 41. The purpose of the crop in the digestive system of a bird is to A. store ingested food, B. absorb digested food, C. churn and grind food, D. secrete digestive enzymes. The answer is A. store ingested food. Of course, the crop is the modification of the esophagus. Question number 42. In rabbits, most cellular digestion takes place in the A. Rectum, B. Cecum, C. Stomach, D. Esophagus. The answer is B. Cecum. And the cecum is a part of the large intestine, and cellulose digestion basically takes place by the process of fermentation, which is microbes are used to break down the food. Question number 43. The function of the pebbles in the gizzard of the poultry is to A. Crush and grind food particles, B. Prevent food particles from digesting, C. Move food particles from one section to another, D. Act as a sieve to allow liquid food to be absorbed. The answer is A. Crush and grind food particles. Of course, chickens do not have teeth, so they use the stones in their along with their gizzard to grind the food. Question number 44. Item 44 refers to the following diagram of a ruminant stomach. Part labeled 4 is the A. Rumen, B. Omasum, C. Reticulum, D. Abomasum. The answer is D. Abomasum. Of course, in the abomasum, the abomasum is referred to as the true stomach, whereby digestive enzymes are finally added to the food to aid digestion. Question number 45. A balanced ration consists of A. The best available nutrients for production, B. Nutrients in the correct proportion, C. Food materials to prevent deficiency, D. All the essential nutrients for healthy growth. The answer is B. Nutrients in the correct proportions. Of course, different animals have different nutrient requirements, and if they don't get those nutrients in their correct proportion, it can affect them negatively. For example, let us look at poultry. You have two types, layers and broilers. Now, the balanced diet for layers and broilers would be different. So, for example, say layers, they are given all the nutrients, but if they are not given enough calcium, then their shells might crack. Their shells might be weak and the eggs might crack easily. In the layers diet, the layers need more calcium for it to be balanced. Now, on the other hand, with the broilers, they require more protein than calcium. So, in their balanced diet, they will not need a lot of calcium compared to the layer. They will need more protein for growth and muscle building for weight gain. Question number 46. Which of the following demonstrate a good rotational grazing system? 1. Animals are placed in paddocks for 4 to 6 days. 2. Milking animals are grazed first, followed by dry and non-productive cows. 3. Undergrazing is done to conserve on fodder. A. 1 and 2 only, B. 1 and 3 only, C. 2 and 3 only, D. 1, 2 and 3. The answer is B. 1 and 3 only. Of course, rotational grazing is done to conserve the fodder, to also lessen the transfer of parasites and diseases. So that is why number 2 option would not be suitable. You would not want to put one set of animal first and then immediately another set after, because you will have a transfer of parasites to the second set of animals. Question number 47. When siting an apiary, it should be positioned A. Downwind of any building, B. Well away from any building, C. On the leeward side of any building, D. On the windward side of any building. The answer is B. Well away from any building. Of course, bees sting, and bees will sting residents, so you don't want them near buildings or built up areas. Question number 48. Item 48 refers to the following information. A ram and a ewe, both heterozygous for the trait having horns, are mated. If capital H represents the dominant allele for horns and common H represents the recessive allele, the possible genotype of the offspring from the cross or incomplete dominance is, the answer is C. 25% purebred dominant gene makeup, 50% heterozygous gene makeup, and a 25% purebred recessive gene makeup. So the answer is C. And these genetic questions, I'll do individual videos targeting those questions. So when I title those videos, I'll put the question, the past paper, and I'll do a detailed workout of that, are those questions that are technical. Question number 49. Which stage of growth is most appropriate for feeding layers with laying ration? A. Less than 1 month, B. 2 to 3 months, C. 3 to 4 months, D. 5 months and over. The answer is D. 5 months and over. Of course, you have to wait till the chicken is fully developed before you start giving them the layers, because the layer ration contains the hormone that will start induce the chickens to lay. So you want to make sure that their body is fully developed, their reproductive system is fully developed. Question number 50. Which of the following is not true about oestrus synchronization? A. The cows conceive earlier in the breeding period. B. More labor is required for detecting when cows are in heat. C. It is less cost effective than expression of natural heat. D. It improves the reproduction performance of the animal. The answer is B. More labor is required for detecting when cows are in heat. Of course, oestrus synchronization means you put the cows on heat. So you would give them hormones that will put them on heat. So if you're going to put the cows on heat, so in this case, you would not wait on them to come and eat to get labor to detect them. When you synchronize, you actually put the animals on heat. You make them come and eat when you want. Question number 51. A likely disadvantage of artificial insemination AI in cows is A. Less disease transmission. B. Crossbreeding of local stock. C. Less technical skills required. D. More technical skills required. The answer is D. More technical skills required. Question number 52. Which of the following diseases are most likely prevented by reducing the moisture content of the litter and the stocking density of the birds in a poultry pen? A. Aspergillosis. B. Newcastle. C. Fowl pox. D. Roop. The answer is A. Aspergillosis. Aspergillosis is basically caused by a fungus. And of course, you know, fungus multiplied or increased in moist environment. So of course, getting rid of the moisture will definitely lessen the aspergillosis. Question number 53. Which of the following is a sign of heat in rabbits? A. Restlessness and nervousness. B. Excessive noise making. C. Swelling of vulva. D. Acceptance of the buck. The answer is D. Acceptance of the buck. Question number 54. Bees are of economic importance to a citrus farmer because they A. Test fruits for ripeness. B. Prevent predial larceny. C. Increase fruit production. D. Biologically control pests. The answer is C. Increase fruit production. Question number 55. Young chicks are usually provided with a heat source during brooding in order to A. Provide light for eggshell development. B. Maintain the body temperature of the birds. C. Increase the temperature of litter to dry and watery feces. D. Prevent caking of the concentrate feed thrown on the floor. The answer is B. Maintain the body temperature of the birds. When the chickens are very young, they cannot control their body temperature. So of course, you would provide heat for them in order to help them maintain their body temperature. Question number 56. Debeaking layer birds is done to A. Prevent stress. B. Prevent starvation. C. Reduce cannibalism. D. Reduce overcrowding. The answer is C. Reduce cannibalism. Of course, when the layers are stocked close together in a coop and they don't have enough space to venture off in, they will start pecking on each other in order to keep them occupied. And of course, as they keep pecking on each other, if they see blood, the blood will entice them and they will continue to peck on the blood, which will result in cannibalism. Question number 57. Which of the following is used by bees to make honey? A. Pollen. B. Nectar. C. Bee bread. D. Royal jelly. The answer is B. Nectar. So basically the nectar is basically a sugar substance found in the flower. And that is what is used to make the honey. And the honey is rich in sugar. The pollens, those are basically collected on the hind leg of the bees. And of course, they are necessary for protein and minerals and vitamins for the bees. Question number 58. Which of the following processes is used to kill harmful bacteria in milk? A. Separation. B. Clarification. C. Pasteurization. D. Homogenization. The answer is C. Pasteurization. Question number 59. Which of the following activities best describes the grading process of eggs? A. The removal of good eggs from bad eggs. B. The collection of eggs from nesting boxes. C. The separation of eggs according to shape and size. D. The use of various mechanisms to enhance the appearance of eggs. The answer is C. The separation of eggs according to shape and size. Question number 60. The live weight of a goat is 50 kg. The dressed carcass weight is 30 kg. What is the dressing percentage? A. 30. B. 40. C. 50. D. 60. The answer is D. 60%. So the formula for dressing percentage is dress weight over live weight times 100. What that is telling you is that 60% of the 50 kg would give you the dressing percentage. So it is basically telling you the amount of a live animal that will be dress weight.